either. So this graveyard or this place that Nobo eventually arrived at is kind of like that acceptance that people are still remembering, even though it is in the past.
Right.
You can still remember that, which is okay.
Which is kind of weird in a way, right?
Yeah,
Because
it's like
that's like a Pixar kind of thing. It's like,
it is, yeah.
It's like, what if cars have feelings? What if monsters have feelings?
Yeah. What if buildings have memories?
What if buildings have feelings?
Yeah, exactly. Wow.
So in a way, it's, kind of like...
Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of Jobless Weebs. Brian here, and with me today,
Marco the Big Bone Mexican.
Awesome. And how have you been?
I'm doing good. This week was great, and I've been playing Cyberpunk.
Oh yeah.
From the last time we talked.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah. I keep hearing that it's getting an explosion of players. So yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it did, and it's a really nice game, but it's just like the anime, so...
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
These
bad guys and bad guys.
Yeah, just bad guys. Bad or worse decisions. Being stealthy with a shotgun. So, it's been pretty nice. And I've been working on some other things that I'm hoping I can show here. As soon as I finish them.
Oh yes, okay. Look forward to that.
What about you?
Yeah, I've been doing all right. This week I've mostly been trying to get a promotion at my current place or job really, so hopefully we'll see what happens.
Nice, yeah.
But I'm gonna keep the Jobless Weebs lifestyle as an ideal. Because this is the best. Yeah.
I mean, once we both have a better job, we can start sponsoring our videos.
That's right, exactly. Like, why do I work? Oh, yeah, for my hobbies.
Right.
That's right. Yeah, so this week I did get to watch a couple of anime, like Overlord and a couple of the other ones. But we did watch a particular anime that we wanted to cover for today called Drifting Home. It's another one that went on Netflix. It was straight to Netflix, right?
Yeah, it's an anime movie that went just right to Netflix just a couple days ago, or by the time this comes out, a couple of weeks ago.
Oh yes, yep.
And yeah, it's I don't know, at least for anime movies, Netflix has a different taste than for anime shows.
Yes,
the anime shows for Netflix
differ.
are very particular, very eccentric, and we've already talked about this, how there's like a demographic for anime shows of Netflix. But for movies, for some reason, most of the movies are kind of like, in a way, lighthearted, or I mean, if you were to compare them with...
yes, in comparison, I would say even more fantastical in the movies, or more of that wondrous, adventurous style, instead of the whole aspect of dystopian and like adventure stuff.
Kind of like high pace or with a lot of intensity. Because even the animation completely changes from the movies to the shows. Because like the shows, you get like either the weird CGI, or if it's 2D, it's like very sharp characters, kind of like buff, and they come out really strong. And in comparison with the movies, and for example with Drifting Home, it's like really, really subtle colors. And previous ones, Where's Bubble Up, like Setup Up.
Yep. And
that one was also pretty lighthearted.
It was
really emotional. So like
really
this
colorful.
one.
Yeah, and also this one. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this Drifting Home is very much in that coming to age type of story, and going out there kind of like kind of finding your past, I would almost say. Because drifting home, instantly you think of going home, but in this case, drifting home. And of course, as we see on the poster, the apartment building is surrounded by water.
Literally drifting.
Yeah, literally drifting. Were you like pretty surprised on that? I was pretty surprised. I was almost like, seriously? Because it's literally a building floating.
It caught me a bit off guard, guess.
Yeah.
I mean, from the trailer, from the picture, it's like you see a building,
right,
like floating in the middle of like the blue sea.
Yeah.
And that's about it. And it's like, okay. But the process from where the main characters are to where you reach that building in that state is like, okay.
Yep. Because it's very emotionally charged.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that I would like to point out is the story follows pretty much is 6 kids, 7 kids.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right?
Let's see here. 7 kids. Yeah. Well, 6 and then a 7th one who's like the mysterious kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. 6 kids and a 7th kid that we will of course cover him.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's I don't know, for some reason in anime it's like I always have this dilemma of like, wow, they're putting these kids to be way more mature than what kids at that age are.
Sure.
But in a way, in here they're also putting them as kids.
Oh yes. Oh yeah.
Throughout the movie, you see how reckless and stupid they are, and it's like
absolutely.
Yeah, a kid will probably do that, and even if it's a dangerous situation, if there is no kind of like adult that it's there to point out that it's dangerous and stupid, or like that,
or like you actually shouldn't do this or that.
So it's like in a way, it's like these kids they don't have a sense of danger unless a grown up tells like, no, that's bad. That's when the kids are starting to like being afraid of doing this or that. But other than that, like even if it's dangerous or stupid, it's like, I might as well try it.
Might as well, yeah. That that is probably pretty accurate to say, because a lot of the kids in this movie is almost at that turning point of realizing who they are and what it means to really be in like a environment of being a kid. Or well, opposed to being on a floating building in dangerous waters, not knowing when you'll be back home.
Right, because like if this would have been adults.
Oh yes, that would have been way different.
This would have been straight up a horror story.
Horror? Well, okay, maybe.
Because the adults would have gone
wacky.
Nuts.
Yeah.
Like right away.
It is kind of wacky because there's a mysterious kid who, well, you find out eventually that he's like growing, or moss is growing on his arm, and so it's like, oh, he's not just a kid. But throughout the whole movie, Drifting Home, there were some sequences where it did play out like a horror movie, actually, even with the kids.
Right.
We could of course talk about the beginning of the movie too, but when they're in the apartment complex, like wandering around, they come up on this mysterious kid, but it's like he's a ghost.
Oh,
so they're totally freaked out. Oh, such a funny part. But yeah, it's definitely not one where these kids are adventuring and like having fun. It's definitely one where they're in these dangerous situations, making dumb decisions, getting hurt too, which for survival is like a huge no-no. Like if you get hurt trying to survive, there's a good chance you might not continue to survive. Right. yeah. So that's a huge part in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, we can start like we always do from the very beginning.
Nice.
And I think you have a list of characters, right?
Oh, I do. Yeah.
Yeah. So these 6 kids / 7 kids, we have them starting from the first one. His name is Kosuke, right? He's kind of like the leader of the group in a way.
Yeah, in a way. Kosuke is kind of like the standoffish character in the beginning, kind of sitting at his desk, and then a couple of the other side characters are at the door of the classroom and saying, hey, like, let's hang out and stuff. Reina especially is very pushy on like going out with him.
Oh, the annoying
she
girl.
Kind of yes, the annoying girl. She has a crush on him though.
Yeah.
So she's trying to like go out with him to like make him notice her, get to know each other, almost like a date. But then another kid, the small kid, Taishi, is also like, hey, let's hang out. But it's like video games and whatnot. But yeah, Kosuke, he's like the leader of the pack because of that strong, like self-assured type of attitude.
On his behavior, or the way that he is, he pretty much has everything together.
Yeah.
I mean, like emotionally, he's not lacking anything. Unlike the other main character.
Natsume.
Natsume.
Oh, yeah.
Who essentially, it seems, I mean, pretty much the story is there because of her.
Yes.
Mainly.
In a way, yes. Yeah.
And so she is this girl that emotionally it's not in a really good place.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, her parents are divorced. Mm-hmm. She's only living with her mom. But before that, when their parents were going through the divorce, she was living with Kosuke's grandpa.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Natsume was basically handed off to the grandpa of Kosuke and was like, oh, take care of her now.
Yeah, which is like, okay.
Right. So it's like, something is going on there, but did you catch anything about like why exactly it was the grandpa they left her with? I didn't quite catch that.
I think that they were just neighbors.
Just neighbors.
They were just neighbors in this apartment complex.
Yeah.
And their parents were garbage people.
Oh,
that, they were fighting and whatnot. And
separated. And okay.
They were
just literally
took their separate ways and they're like, we have a child.
Oh my gosh.
Let's leave it to the neighbors. And like, people are like, okay, like, I haven't gone through that.
Okay,
in my life, and I hope I never. But it's like, dude,
right? Because that's like I don't know, but yeah. Oh man, it is sad.
So like emotionally, he has a lot of baggage, and more so because this grandpa that she was staying with. Yeah. It seems that it's now anymore. So he died, and it seems that it hasn't been that many years since he died, but since he died, he went back to she went back to living with her mom.
Yeah.
And her mom is kind of like their
she's like working, but it's still not like the greatest home environment, I guess you could say, from Natsume's point of view. She's kind of like disappointed in her.
Yeah, I mean, her mom is not emotionally present for her.
Right.
Because
even though
and we see it kind of like throughout the movie.
We do.
How Natsume was emotionally connected with Kosuke's grandpa and the rest of the family.
Oh yes.
To the point that she was pretty much a member of that family.
Oh yeah, of Kosuke's
like
family.
when all the mess of her parents was getting solved.
Right.
It's like she was doing good.
Yeah. Oh yes.
But then it's like, okay, this stopped. You go back.
Right. You go back
to your crappy life with your mom, because it's like, well,
yeah.
but,
right.
Oh boy, it's like,
yeah.
That part was kind of heartbreaking. It's like, oh
was.
Boy,
it's heavy stuff because it's literally the makeup of your family, and like where a kid goes home to, it's their life and their security, so they have to rely on their parents. And yeah, for her it wasn't quite what she wanted after losing Kosuke's grandpa, which was like a father figure to her. Yeah, absolutely.
And so the other characters that we have, besides the chibi and the other annoying girl right now, we have two more. One like chubby boy.
Yeah, Yuzuru. He's like he's a big kid. He's kind of like the backbone of the group. He tries to mediate when people are like fighting. He doesn't have like a whole bunch of character presence other than that like bulwark for everybody else.
Yeah,
physically and
right.
Yeah.
And the last one is Reina's errand girl.
Oh yes, yeah, like Judy. They called her Judy in the English dub, but yeah, her name's like Judy, something like that.
Yeah.
So
she is the errand girl.
Yeah.
Pretty much, and later on, it's like, I mean, what I like is like, most of the characters have like a good character development. They go from brats to regular kids, I would say.
Okay. In the sense that they do realize other people are different, and like you interact with people in like at least as positive as you can.
Yeah,
maybe like
I mean, kind of like they learn to create these social contract, you know?
Yeah.
And you know, that's something hard to learn, even for grown-ups.
Oh, yes. Maybe that's why they did kids then in this movie, because it's like that coming to age along with that, like learning how to interact with each other. Because as grown-ups, it's like, no, it's not like we have it all figured out. That's why things continue to happen.
Right. But, I mean, we're just better at faking it.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
But coming from kids, it's a bit more sincere. So
That's a good point.
And so the story actually is start in this old, it's like 60-year-old apartment complex that it's been turned out because the city or town, it's been modernized. It's like, and that's just, safety and, like building a city. Cause it's like, you don't want your people to live in these 60-year-old buildings that they're not following or they're not up to the safety standards. It's like, you want new stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. You want to have everything all squared away in the right safety protocols. Yeah.
And so since these ones are scheduled to be torn apart, they hold a really strong, like emotional place for Natsume especially.
And for this physical building.
Yeah. Because it's like, that's the building where she was happy.
Oh yeah. And the only place that she could be happy in a family setting. Yeah.
And so these groups of kids, like the boys, were like, well, explore the building before they turn it apart, because
yes, because it's gonna be
there might be ghosts, like some hunting story, like we gotta do this for a project for school. So
Taishi even brought a net with him. Catch a ghost.
Godbusters.
right. So that's what like they decided to do on a whim after school one day, and then so they entered the building, and was it Reina? Was wait a second.
No,
It's because
they found Natsume.
Yeah, they found Natsume first
in Kosuke's grandpa apartment, and from there they're like, oh yeah, they went to the roof because Natsume had a tent, and she's like, oh, what do you put the tent? It's like, oh, it's for Noob. No, or
Nopo.
Nopo, yeah.
Yeah,
like,
for
it's
Nopo.
for Nopo. Like, who's Nopo? Oh, it's a kid that he said he used to live here. It's like,
it's okay. Yeah, and so, it's like, okay, it's super weird because Natsume is just hanging out on top of this building off and on. As they're walking along the roof, Reina and her group sees them. Oh yeah.
And then Reina is like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go because Natsume is bothering my crush.
Yep.
And
reasons.
You know, it becomes a drama up until the part where it seems that Natsume is gonna get killed.
Oh yeah. Oh whoa, that's right. Okay. When she gets
you
knocked
completely
off,
blocked
right?
that part of it.
Because that's when she gets knocked off the
kind of like a chimney or something.
Or
right?
like the raised roof. And they were struggling, and then she falls over, like falling to her death, basically.
Pretty much.
So I was way freaked out because that's like, like this is the red flag.
Right.
She's gonna die, or at least like crap's gonna hit the fan when this is about to happen.
Yeah, and luckily that didn't happen because this is when the fantastical stuff happens. We get a glimpse of Nobo, who's somewhere sitting. It starts raining and kind of like some sort of like flood.
Yeah.
Like overcomes the entire building, and then they're transported into the sea, the open sea. Just this building, just these kids, and they're floating. Natsume is not dead.
Yeah. She just hits the water and kind of just swims back onto the building.
Do you think like that was the catalyst?
That kind of like made them go onto this journey.
Because I mean, when they were already discussing, the rain started pouring down. But it was not until she was on real danger that she was essentially saved.
Because Nopo was always kind of like that fallback or that safety net that Natsume was always going to. Yeah, maybe I would say that was the catalyst then, since it was like her death basically that was about to happen, but then with the water that suddenly surrounded them, it did save her. Yeah, I could probably agree that it was.
And now that they were in this building, they had no food. I mean, other than junk food that Natsume gathered.
Oh yes.
But they don't have any food, any water. They're just stranded in there. That's where like the horror began.
That actually reminded me of just that part when they're in the apartments trying to live and stuff. It reminded me of, well, probably two things. Both Korean shows. Home Sweet Home, when they're going around the apartments, but also All of Us Are Dead, the Korean school drama with the zombies. They have to like live in the school building. But these 7 kids have to scrounge around just trying to survive.
Okay. Yeah, this one actually reminded me of, I think it's a manga. I don't think it has an anime adaptation. It's called actually Drifting Classroom.
Oh, okay.
But that one, it's a horror one. Definitely.
Okay. Whoa.
And yeah, and
So
that one is
why.
like a high school kind of like environment, and that is definitely a horror one. So this one,
Yeah.
it has some like horror stuff, but it's like, yeah, wasn't horror. It was more lighthearted. It was more for like character development.
Yeah.
And more emotional.
That's right.
So yeah, in a way, I liked it a little more because the other one is like, nope, I need my slice of life.
Oh yeah, straight up horror. Yeah.
But
scary.
But yeah, in this one, it's like they're kids. They don't have this sense of danger. So it's like, when that happens at the beginning, it's like, oh, maybe this is a dream. It's like, let's treat it as an overnight camp. Like, let's have fun. And it's like, we can try asking for help, like, you know, like SOS. This and whatnot. But essentially, it's like, it was just kids playing to be castaways.
Exactly. Well, the thing is also, Natsume said that whenever this happened to her before, because that was a surprise for everybody that she's already experienced this, but she said every time she goes to sleep, she wakes up and it was just all a dream. So yeah, they think that this first day or even a few following days, it's just a dream.
We see a lot of other buildings passing around them, and they start to realize like, oh, these are buildings that are no longer like, you know, back at home. They were destroyed.
Yep.
And
that
like,
was so cool.
Like, it's been like 6 years, or like it's been this many years since
that it was actually demolished. Yeah. Like, for example, the school one. I believe it was the school building with the swimming pool that knows. Oh, sorry, I blinked on his name. Nasuke.
Yeah.
Nasuke, he ziplined into and pretty much jumped through the roof to get into. So yeah, it was a school building that they went to, actually. And I loved that part especially because it made me realize or think that these buildings that are drifting along, as we saw, are like our memories or a physical manifestation of what we remember. Oh, that was such a cool part.
And it was so great. And one of the things that you don't notice, or maybe it's hard to make a connection, is that all of these buildings have a, let's say, one person with them at least.
Oh, okay.
And it's like, we're gonna fast forward a little bit because when you mentioned like Nobo having like moss on his arm, and also you when they go to the mall.
Oh yes, the mall.
When they were trying to escape, there was this kind of like black matter in the sea that was trying to eat them.
Oh yes, the black lights or the black matter. That was really odd too.
It ate a part of Nobo's feet. It was just
a rebar.
Yeah.
It was a rebar instead of a skeleton. Oh my gosh. That blew my mind because that's when you realize.
Yeah, that's when you confirm it's like, okay. He's not human, but it's like, if by this time you haven't made the connection that he is connected to the building. Right. Sorry for the spoilers.
Yes. I kind of thought of Nobo as I'm not even sure how to describe it. If the building or like if the building's past is manifesting through Nobo as like a person, or if like Nobo as a person is like the building itself. So yeah, it's really fascinating because he is basically a boy that was a part, quote unquote, of the building way back, and actually saw Natsume and Nosuke like growing up too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he is basically like it's kind of weird to say physical manifestation, but kind of like a figment of their imagination manifested from the building.
I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, it was so cool because also another thing with the black matter is that there's also a light. There's a light matter, kind of like an antithesis.
You mean like the blue?
Yeah, the blue lights. Yeah, so the blue lights also was a big part of Nobo and the building itself.
Yeah, I mean the way that I saw it is like the black matter was this matter to like destroy, to forget, to like
decay almost,
to decay things. And the blue light, or like, they were like,
they were blue lights,
or kind of like fairies, whatever you want to call it. They were there to reminisce. What's the word? To make you remember.
Yes. Okay.
They were not creating anything. They were just like bringing back memories.
Oh, I didn't even make that connection. Whoa,
you didn't?
That was cool.
Because like when they were, and like we're going way forward again back to the mall.
Yeah, I think this is important stuff.
When they were in the mall, Natsume started to see these lights, and she saw a girl crying.
Oh yes,
and that was her.
That was her memory, and that was like, literally her. Yeah,
he was not remembering like good times.
Right.
It was
a sad
just remembering.
Yeah. Whoa.
But then,
that's a good point.
But later on, you also see those lights, and you even see Kosuke's grandfather.
Oh, yes.
With these lights, it's like, okay, the lights are there to kind of like make you reconnect with those memories, whether if they're sad or happy memories.
Right.
It's like those memories are there, like they make you. Yeah. It's not like you get what you want, like your desires, more like this is what you got. So like you have to make the best of it. Because it's like Natsume was like having a crappy life. For a kid, it's like having a kid going through that stuff is like it's definitely traumatic.
Oh yes, yeah.
But then she found this fatherly figure, and she kind of like forgot about her problems before, and she was smiling now, because before that she even mentioned like, oh yeah, I was just faking it with my parents because my parents were like not paying attention to me, and then your grandpa was nice, and we were happy. We were like running and everything. And it's like, and I was not faking anymore. I mean, it was true. It was like, boy, like, my heart.
that's real stuff right there.
Because it's like the whole point of the movie is kind of like accepting your past, accepting like whether like you had like good stuff, bad stuff. In your past, but that kind of like made you what you are today. So it's like it kind of like really depends on if you want to live in the past with those good memories, or if you want to get stuck with those bad memories, or if you want to keep doing, creating some more good memories. Because that was the building, and the building. In a way, the physical manifestation Nobo was also being emotionally attached to those memories.
Well, because when I saw the black, like when I saw the dark lights, or like that dark matter kind of trying to surround them and pull them back, yeah, I did kind of think of that in a way as that attachment to the past. Like, yeah, it's in the past for a reason, but we can definitely go ahead and like accept it and accept it to be our past.
Because the way that I saw it is like almost um at the end, you know, like Nobo reaches kind of like a graveyard.
Yes,
where there were other kids.
Yeah, and for like, other buildings too.
Yeah, and kind of like in a way, I saw it like, well, those buildings probably also had like, they had people remembering.
Yeah,
like kind of like good moments in those buildings.
Right.
That's why those kids were still there. Because otherwise they would have been sucked up by the black matter. Because the black matter probably that's the way that I kind of like made the connection. It's like, yeah, the black matter probably means that no one remembers you. Like no one had like memories with you.
Oh my, which is like which is like a entire forgetting or an entire like nobody remembers. Oh, okay. I didn't think of that either. So this graveyard or this place that Nobo eventually arrived at is kind of like that acceptance that people are still remembering even though it is in the past.
Right.
You can still remember that, which is okay.
Which is kind of weird in a way, right?
Yeah, because it's like
that's like a Pixar kind of thing. It's like,
it is,
It's like, what if cars have feelings? What if monsters have feelings?
Yeah. What if buildings have memories?
What if buildings have feelings?
Yeah, exactly. Wow.
So in a way, it's, you know, kind of like romantic in a way.
Yeah, it is.
It's like, because like, you have good memories of places you've been when you were a kid, when you were growing up.
Yeah.
So it's like,
and you don't have to like forget about that, but you can definitely like remember it and reminisce about it. Yeah. That is pretty like kind of like a feel good idea.
Yeah, because you know, at the end of the climax, when they build the raft, because the building it's been sucked up by nothingness.
Yeah, and so it's finally sinking into the water.
That Natsume decides to stay with Nobo, which in a way is like, she's still like holding to this past. She these emotional wounds is like, no, my life was better when. Mm-hmm. It's like, they decide to go back on this Ferris wheel. With this other girl that had also Moss growing up, that she had a connection with Reina.
That's right, because Reina remembered the first amusement park that her dad took her with. So it's like an emotional connection right there too.
and this girl were like, oh, I remember you, like like, thanks for being happy with me. It's like,
oh my goodness, it hits you right here because it's like Reina was the brattiest brat of them all, but it's like this part is like her way to.
That was kind of the drop that kind of like made everything have like a complete change in her. Cause the first thing was when her errand girl almost died.
Judy. Oh my, she was out.
When she was like, oh wait, she's my real friend. Like,
and she like cried and was pretty much begging for her sake. Yeah, Judy.
Yeah, kind of like the other kids. Yeah. Well, Judy, I mean, she stepped up to Reina and.
Oh, she did. Yeah.
And that also helped Reina not to be a brat.
It did, yeah.
And the other kids. What about the other kids?
Well, the other kids, not super much, but they were there.
Pretty decent.
Yeah, they were decent.
They were. Yeah. They were emotionally present and.
Right.
And also when there was this, when they were in the raft, they saw their families, and the only one that they didn't see anyone, or just like her mom was Natsume, and that was like also the wake up call for Kazuki, saying like, oh yeah. she's having a bad time, and I kind of like screwed things up because I told her like, stop living in the past. It's like, well, it's not like her present is that good either.
Right, yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, because you saw her parents like right now. It's like, oh yeah, my dad and the amusement parks in Florida.
Right.
She was like a rich girl.
Oh yes, yeah. So she actually was connected to that. She wanted to continue that. Yeah.
Yeah, and Kazuki, he had his family, mom, dad. They were present there.
Yeah.
He was just being in this kind of like rebellious stage. But at the same time, he was ignoring a lot of emotional baggage that he had.
Oh, he was. Even ignoring his friends, too. Yeah. Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's way easier to ignore your emotional stuff rather than facing it. So.
Oh, that's so true.
And when you're a kid, honestly, you don't really think about emotional things when you're a kid.
Yeah, right. Or at least, like, you don't... I'm not sure. Yeah, it's different. But yeah, for them, it's definitely something they are trying to like go through, and yeah, maybe not in the best way. Right. Especially Kosuke.
And it makes sense because it's like, they're kids, they're learning how to go through. So that's one of the things that I like about the movie is like the depiction of the kids. Mm-hmm. Like how they acted, like emotionally.
It was good.
It was kind of like on point. It was like like you would expect that from elementary school kids.
Oh, sure. Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, like you don't really observe that because like most of the times you think is like it's kids. They're happy with anything. Like when you're a kid, it's like it's not very likely for a kid to be depressed because it's like anything can make him happy. Just make him a plush. Just give him a new toy and
and then they're fine.
And they're fine. But it's like as adults, it's like that's kind of like
it is a little bit simplistic. Actually, that's a good point because I think sometimes we kind of idolize childhood or romanticize childhood, but it's not really like childhood is a real thing anyway. But it's like we think kids can like just go through anything they experience, but no, they really do have this kickback and this emotional stuff they have to go through, and looking back at it thinking that kids, they have it easy or whatever. Yeah, that is not a great like perspective to have. I think as grown-ups or however we talk about the differences and whatnot.
Yeah, so it's like you're like I'm not a parent right now, but it's like if I try to remember my childhood is like most of the time it's like I had a pretty good childhood.
Yeah, it was okay.
It's like it was happy, but it's like if I kind of try to look back into the emotional stuff, it's like
that's so hard to do.
I don't really remember it.
No,
because it's like I'm either blocking it.
Oh, sure. Well,
which is the most likely outcome.
Well, that's the thing with emotions. Emotions can't really be remembered as it's kind of like a experience or a feeling over time, and they change, and the way we remember it. We have a hard time like bringing up. What did I feel when I couldn't get that ice cream on that one evening?
Right.
I don't know. I remember maybe I did cry, but it's hard to like think emotionally. I wanted that ice cream.
Right.
I needed that. I don't know.
Which in a way, weird. Like, it might seem dumb because it's like for a kid, but it's like for a kid, that was a pretty big deal. It's like, that was probably the best ice cream I could have ever had in my life. And now I will never know.
Never. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, this was a great movie to hit on like some of those points, getting down to some of the, I don't know, unsurety and insecurity of being a kid, if not trying to pin down what childhood even means. But yeah, it's this movie also hit on like what it means to be a home, or like to have a home. But yeah, I think also my big takeaway from this movie was that home is kind of like a thing you desire or thing you want. So yeah, I really liked that part especially.
Yeah, it was really good because it's all about the connections. It's not really about how you walk the way. It's about with whom you walk the way, kind of thing.
Yes.
Because ultimately that was it.
Yeah, ultimately.
Because like at the very end, it was this emotional punch. Because luckily they were able to, like, get back to the real world.
Oh, yeah.
Safe and sound.
Right. Yeah. They made it back. Yes. And how they explain their injuries, I will never know. And also I did want to bring up one thing. The very, very end sequence, or the very end scene, was them on the balcony, like talking with each other, going through pictures and stuff. And then it was like dinner time, right?
Yeah, and so I think the mom of Kosuke, right?
Yeah, the mom, she was like, hey, like, you're all right? Because they almost dropped the camera, from Kosuke's grandpa. So the mom was like, hey, you're okay, right? Yeah, so the English dub is at least, goodness, don't scare me like that. I thought you would drop off the face of the earth again.
Yeah.
So like, what the heck? Like, did they actually leave, or like, were they actually gone for an actual amount of time? And we don't really get an explanation.
Because they show the pictures that they taken, and Nobo was there.
Yes.
So okay.
Trying to hide it and like,
it was not just some childhood hallucination,
right? Because the freaking camera had those pictures. Oh wow. Oh yeah, I still have no idea what to think.
Yeah. And the other thing is, like, that actually happened on, well, kind of like the time frame when it happened is like, it's 2022, so.
Oh yeah! Oh, that's right. Yeah, I also like that too.
That's one of the things that I kind of like.
Yeah,
because it's like, okay, modern. You like kind of like modern thing is like,
I like that.
Because normally they don't mention the years. They always say like, oh yeah, XX something.
Oh sure.
They're like, they don't want to give you a time frame.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, oh yeah, this is. It's kind of like a modern world, but it's not on Earth. It's not on anything. But in difference, like, no, it was freaking 2022.
Right.
So,
exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, I really like that aspect because it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Do it. Okay. Yeah. So overall, personally, I think I'd give the movie like a 7. Yeah, maybe a weak 7, but I'll give the movie a 7 personally.
Yeah, I mean, I like the art, and I also liked the soundtrack. I think that the soundtrack was super good, even in the critical moments.
Okay.
Like in like the horror-like scenes, it was on point. Soundtrack,
yes.
Like really spent like kind of like violin, some piano in there.
Okay.
Or when the storm was hitting, that part of the sound was blended in really good. That in a way you could feel the freaking storm.
Okay.
So I would probably give it like a 7.5 or 8.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah, I really like the song. I mean, lately I've been listening to a lot of anime soundtracks.
Oh,
I mean, not opening or endings, like the actual soundtrack, kind of like the background.
Oh, okay,
I've been listening
gotcha.
to some of the animes, kind of like Made in Abyss, Yurikan, Nier Automata.
Oh yeah.
So like lately, like every time that I'm watching anime, like for some reason I've been paying more attention now to the soundtrack, and it's like
okay,
that sounds really good. So it's like
wow, okay.
Yeah, I'm being a little biased with probably my grading, but like the soundtrack was super good. Even the ending song was like, this kind of like jazz, lighthearted.
Oh, it was. Yeah.
That would normally be like, it was kind of like a happy ending.
Yeah.
Everything went back to normal. Life was normal. Kind of like a normal song.
It was. Yeah, it was like it was normal. Yeah. Maybe even okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because things got fixed, things got better for her. Cause like she kind of like, I wouldn't say moved on, but I would say that she overcame that emotional baggage that she spent forever.
oh yes, yeah. I like that.
But that was a good movie.
Yeah, it was good. I do recommend it for anybody out there watching out for good anime. I definitely rewatch it with my family if given a chance.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, I would also probably recommend it to my family.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But this was episode 64. We hope you liked it.
Yeah.
And
keep watching anime.
see you next week.